Hey there, and welcome. Ever thought about a career in U.S. taxation that could literally take you anywhere in the world? Today, we're diving into a qualification that's got this incredible high-level prestige, but, and this is the best part, it's also surprisingly accessible. We're talking about the Enrolled Agent Certification.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to break down what an enrolled agent really is. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the exam itself. After that, and you're going to want to stick around for this part, we'll talk about who can actually do this. Hint, it's probably you. Then we'll explore the awesome global careers it unlocks. And finally, we'll wrap things up with some tips on picking the right training.
Okay, first things first. What even is an enrolled agent? And more importantly, why is this title such a big deal in the tax world?
So, right off the bat, you need to know this is not just some certificate you get for finishing a course. Nope. An enrolled agent is a federally licensed pro, and that license comes directly from the U.S. Internal Revenue Service, the IRS. That alone puts you in a whole different league.
And the power you get with this license, it's huge. They call it unlimited rights to practice. Think about that. It means you can represent any taxpayer for any tax issue in front of any part of the IRS. We're talking about the heavy stuff here. Audits, appeals, you name it. You're their champion. Okay, so you're probably thinking, this sounds amazing, but how do I get there? Well, it all boils down to one thing: passing the Special Enrollment Examination, or SEE for short. The good news is they don't throw everything at you at once. The whole thing is broken down into 3 parts. This makes it so much more manageable, right? You can just focus on one section, master it, and then move on to the next. And the structure makes perfect sense. Part 1 is all about individuals, personal taxes, deductions, all that stuff. Part 2 dives into the business world. We're talking corporations, partnerships, the works. And then Part 3, and this is super important, covers the rules of the game, ethics, procedures, and how you actually represent taxpayers. All right, so who is this actually for? You might be picturing someone who's been a CPA for 20 years, but that's where things get really, really interesting. So let's get right to it. What does it actually take? What do you need on your resume to even be allowed to sit for this thing? And this is the real game changer. Get this. There's no minimum degree. No prior experience in tax or accounting is required. It doesn't matter if you're coming from a totally different field, if you're a student, or a working pro looking for a change. The door is wide open. How amazing is that? Okay, so you've passed the exam, you've got your federal license, now what? Let's talk about where this credential can take you, and I mean globally. The cool thing is, you're not just pigeonholed into one job. Becoming an EA opens up a ton of different high-demand roles. Every company that touches the U.S. market needs people who understand U.S. tax. So you could be a tax analyst, a consultant, even an international tax executive. And we're not talking about small-time gigs. These jobs are at the biggest names in the business. We're talking the Big Four, huge multinational companies, and there's a massive market in outsourcing, especially in places like India and the UAE that are major global business hubs. Now look, just because it's accessible doesn't mean it's easy. The material is tough, so setting yourself up with the right training is absolutely key. Let's run through what a good program should look like. You'll want a few things. First, make sure your instructors have actual, real-world experience with U.S. tax. That's non-negotiable. Then you need flexibility, someone you can ask questions to, like a mentor, and tons of practice exams. You've got to practice. With that kind of setup, you could realistically get this done in just 6 to 9 months. Think about that, a whole new global career in under a year. Okay, let's wrap this up in a nutshell. What's the takeaway? The enrolled agent is a powerful credential, straight from the IRS. You pass a 3-part exam to get it. Just about anyone can go for it. It can be done in as little as 6 months, and it's your ticket to a global career in U.S. tax. Simple as that. And that's really what makes this so special. It's this incredible mix of being super prestigious, it's a federal license, but also being so open and accessible to anyone with the drive to learn. That combination is pretty rare. So really, the only question left is for you. Could this be your next big career move? It's a pretty powerful and direct way to get into international tax. Definitely something to think about. Okay, so we've established what an enrolled agent is. It's a big deal, but how do you actually become one? Especially if you're living outside the U.S. Well, that question leads us right to the company at the center of all this, Elite's EduBridge, and the specific pitch they're making. So their whole pitch, their entire value proposition, is that they are that connection.
They position themselves as the bridge that connects professionals in India directly to the huge US tax market. The message is super simple but really powerful. We'll give you the roadmap and you can walk right into a global career. But what's actually in this toolkit they're offering? How do they claim to prepare someone for what is a really tough exam? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the different parts of their program that they say will lead to success. So the whole program is laid out to perfectly match the 3 parts of the actual EA exam. It's pretty logical. You start with taxes for individuals, then you move on to the more complicated stuff, taxes for businesses, and finally you wrap up with the really crucial part, the rules and procedures for representing clients. It's a very clear, step-by-step journey. And here's how they say they teach it. They talk about having expert faculty and concept-based training, which sounds good, but the real focus, the thing they keep coming back to, is that it's all about the exam. They're pushing practical tools like multiple-choice questions, case studies, and mock tests, all of it designed for one single goal, to help you pass that test. Now, what's interesting here is that they have a kind of 2-track approach to support. On one hand, you've got flexible, self-paced learning, which is perfect for students or people who are already working. But on the other hand, they also offer personalized one-on-one mentoring for anyone who needs that extra guidance or has specific questions. So it seems like they're trying to cater to different schedules and different ways of learning.
Okay, so we've seen the credential, we've looked inside the program. But all of this leads to the biggest question, right? What's the payoff? What's the end game here? Let's take a look at the career path they're promising and figure out who this program is really designed for.
And this really breaks down who they're targeting. And you can see it's a pretty diverse crowd. They're not just going after one type of person. They're looking at commerce graduates, people studying to be CAs or CMAs, MBA students, and even folks who are already working professionals. It seems like they're casting a really wide net across the whole finance and accounting world. And this is the promised land. This is where they say you can end up working. They list out 4 main types of employers: specialized U.S. tax firms, big CPA firms, major multinational corporations, and those global outsourcing companies. By listing these specific places, they're trying to make their promise of a global career feel really tangible and real. And, their tagline really wraps this whole thing up in a neat little bow: shaping global tax professionals. That's not just a slogan, right? It's basically their entire mission statement. It positions the program as something more than just education. It's about total career transformation. It's a very, very aspirational pitch.
So, after breaking all of this down, after looking at this one very specific path, it leaves us with a much bigger question, doesn't it? In today's world where work can happen from pretty much anywhere, is this the new key to a global career? Becoming a hyper-specialized expert in a very specific, high-demand niche, like U.S. taxes. Is that the most reliable way to make it on the global stage? It's definitely something to think about.